I'm gonna need some confidence from you. I'm gonna need you to lay down the law, Stephen. Law.
Okay, so I feel like it's gonna go one of two ways. I feel like either the human form gains 3 extra sets of nipples.
Okay.
Going all the way down.
That's already my favorite version of the werewolf. Hello! Welcome to episode 91 of We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Stevie Wildcard.
And every week, Stevie Wildcard and I get together and we do our best to just wade through the quicksand of our various depressions, Steven! We're trying. So every week we get together and we do our best to just, overflood the toilets of our issues and ruin their days so we can, we distract them so we can get other things done. Most recently...
They're going to grab the plunger. They're too busy to stop us from doing what we're trying to get accomplished.
I mean, what are they going to do? They can't...
I got to unclog.
Yeah, they can't. You can't.
I had to unclog a bathtub today because of my kids.
No way. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. I have some questions for you. So, we try to get something done. Most recently, it's been a supernatural action comedy comic book called Deathless, which has been going really well. We ran a crowdfunding campaign. We were super successful, and we are headlong, just into this project. Steven, how have you been doing this week?
Well, I didn't do what I said. I was going to do 12 pages, but I did finish all of page 19, which is right here. Which I think now, it's funny, we keep saying this, but I really do think it's the best page of the comic so far. There might be some contenders, but I really do like all the different perspectives. There's a lot of stuff going on. And then I do have page 20 completely laid out with the main image roughed. Anthony's gone.
I'm sorry.
But no, and then I do have page 20 laid out, and then I also have the whole big center part where he's falling through the air roughed out. So I have the main image roughed.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I mean I didn't fully do it, but I've got a schedule again. Basically what I've decided to do is that since I set my alarms for 4 to try to get up by 4, but I keep getting up at 5. I started setting my alarms for 3:30 now. So now I actually do get up at 4:30. So basically that's when I want to get up. So that's when I have to get the time in, so
dude, that's freaking admirable as heck. That's so hard. It's so hard. And I know it's been hard for me lately. We were just talking about finding things that are kind of symptomatic and little bits of evidence of the grief period. It's been hard for me to get out of bed, Stephen. I'm usually not a person who I'm not a snooze person. You know what I am? I'm a multiple alarm setting person where it's systematic. I know exactly when my alarm's gonna go off, and I do it intentionally so I can feel better about my sleep. Not it's because I'm sure I feel like most people know this feeling. You know when you go to sleep and you wake up and then you go back to sleep for a few minutes. That's why people hit the snooze button at all. And for some reason, that sleep is the most comfortable, best sleep you ever feel in your entire life. Your whole existence falls into that pillow and you feel like you've never been more comfortable than those moments,
Absolutely. Those in-between snooze sleeps are so comfortable.
Yeah.
There is one sleep that's better than that.
Okay, I need to hear this.
And that's when you wake up and it feels like it's about 5 minutes to your alarm, but it's actually 1 o'clock in the morning. And you're like, oh my God, I got so many hours left. Dude, I'm so tired.
I'm so with you there because I know that exactly.
It's somehow you cheated the universe. I don't know what you did.
I think it's because
you traveled through time.
Dude, it's because we're all so used to we do wake up so often 1 second before the alarm goes off. Our bodies are so terribly / perfectly trained with those alarms, our circadian rhythms and such that we will wake up right before an alarm goes off just so we don't have to hear those noises or whatever, and then we're well,
I don't want to hear that again.
So it's
brain.
Now I'm up. That's it, so it's when our system fails and we actually are happy about it, it's amazing. That's amazing. But dude,
it's such a good feeling.
So instead of becoming a person who hit snooze, what I became was a person who planned that heavenly circumstance where I was like, now what I'm gonna do is intentionally wake up a good 30 minutes before I know I can even like comfortably wake up. So I'm like, I force myself to be uncomfortable so then I can find that like most comfortable spot. So like I wake up early, but lately I've been a snoozer, dude. I've been hitting that snooze button. I've been in bed like
sacrificing things, like
yep.
like I'll keep setting goals. Like I'll wash my hair, and then like I'll just be like, no, I can just put it up, or I'm going into the pool day because it's Memorial Day, so I'll just you keep setting these like small goals that you're just trying to accomplish just so you still feel human, and like you just keep pushing it. And I get it. The snooze is it's like the perfect metaphor for that, because that's what it feels like. It's like you're snoozing your life,
Yeah.
You keep asking for 10 more minutes,
Yeah, but that's where I've been. I get a lot of coloring done. Like I'll share what I did this week. It looks good because the art is phenomenal, because you're like all of your pages are so good. But I didn't finish it. I wanted to get more done. I just like dude, I've been distracting myself so much with like little nonsense, and I've been like kind of spiraling on social media because like I go through the thing where I don't really feel like being there. And then, of course, like there's the heaviness of the, the things that have been happening in the news lately. And then it's like, like why am I on social media? Because I'm only on social media for so many reasons, right? And like first and foremost, like we're looking for community. We want to build like connections with people, meet people, find find friends and family and community, and like network with people. And in doing so, hopefully like help to share our art and find like an audience for the things that we make. And like we do that, and then the other side too, or like the other side of that coin is just expression, like being able to like get out my silly nonsense like I think of during the day, like any kind of like silly joke I have where I'm like, if I'm with someone at work and I'm like, oh, she, like, or if I'm at work,
she's not gonna appreciate
this, or he's not gonna appreciate this, and they don't care about this, or like, if I say this joke to them, it's
good thing.
Crickets.
And good thing I've curated these other me's across the, across the entire globe that would there's probably at least 10% of them that would appreciate this, so.
Dude. And that's all it is it's like, here it is. I have this thing that I would like to say because it can't, like, here, blah, blah, blah. Like I experienced this stuff. My stupid, like, human holes, like, absorb this earth as it spins. And then it's like, oh, I gotta regurgitate, I gotta spit out, I gotta poop out all the stuff that I learned. Like, that's what's happening. Like I consume so I can then just like, I have to get rid of the waste. And sometimes the waste comes in interesting forms. And so I want to get that out, and I want people to see it. I want to share that's the best crap that comes out of us is from this part. But yeah, dude, so I want to share with people, and when I'm at work or whatever, and like sometimes I can't find those people, so I go online. Recently, because of what's going on in the news and such, it's just either it feels inappropriate to like have that levity, even though that's how I experience, like how I like get through things. That is a cultural norm crunch that a lot of us use, is like I get through things not with humor about a particular thing, but with humor in general, with like finding silver linings and joy in general is how I can like hold my breath through the quicksand when it gets too high. You know what I mean? So in those moments where good.
And I feel like that is like the problem when it comes to social media, is that and I don't think either side is necessarily wrong, but some people really do view it as a medium to be able to provide social activism. And I get that. But like at the same token, people like you and me view Twitter as like friends that we can like talk to. And if, for example, this tragic event that happened, if I were hanging out with my group of friends, I wouldn't speak to them about that what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like that's what happens is the two different mindsets. It's like, I'm not trying to undermine, underappreciate, or underaccept like what happened. Like it's horrible, but I also like use this as my form of escapism. And I totally get if you don't want to see my stuff, and you can mute me, you can whatever you need to do, because if you're grieving and that's how you grieve and that's how you do what you do, I completely appreciate and understand that. So yeah, it's just one of those, I think it's a misfire. And I wish people would be more understanding of both sides of that coin. You know what I'm saying? Like, but It is what it is
Well,
sometimes.
social media is a circus, and we're constantly juggling both like ice and fire of various like types, you know? Like, I mean, we're all at the like we are all individuals who are also in this like social stratosphere. Like we're all swimming in our various pools, you know? So it's like we're like the water is poisoned in such a way when something affects everyone, but then we're also going through our individual issues, you know? Like, I mean, like you and I essentially, I mean, we're in a freaking like boiling hot tub right now of pee. You know what I mean? Like we're
Yeah.
we're trying to escape it already, and someone's like, hey, you know, there's a shark in the water now, and it's like crap, you know, like we're already dealing with this, like, and we're all already dealing with this, and like, you know, and that's all. It's like we want to all be able to express these things in a respectable, you know, a respectful manner. You know, we want to be able to express what we're going through in any given time, regardless of what's happening to the greater pool. I mean, you know, like you have to, of course, we have to speak with some humility, recognizing that, you know, there are greater things happening in the world that are worse than what we're dealing with. But that's going to be true every single day for every single human, no matter what's happening. You know, so so we do speak with that humility, and we're doing is we're trying our best to you know, swim through whatever muck we are all faced with and what we're faced with ourselves while staying alive. You know, we're just doing what we can. But when it starts to feel harder, when it feels like when it's harder because of the way other people are responding to your survival methods, you know, whatever it is, it just feels like it's like, all right, I guess what do I do? Do I just keep swallowing this water, or do I like find a way out of this particular pool, which in this case happens to be social media? You know, so it's like it does feel like without that particular variable, you know, it would be a little bit easier to get through the quicksand that we are currently treading, you know. So it's like I'm already going through enough, I'm trying to make it just out of mine, and that's what I'm talking to, or like that's what I'm speaking about when I'm like making jokes and stuff. I'm just trying to get through my personal stuff right now, and I can't necessarily address every single thing that's happening in the world right now, and I'm sorry.
I feel like the episode of The Office where they have the bat in the office, and Jim pretends he gets bitten, and Dwight goes, one emergency at a time. Like you can only handle so much, you know. He's trying to get rid of the bat, you know. Now Jim might be a vampire, and I understand that it's silly, but like absolutely, like the mind kind of gets locked in that mode where it's. Because like for you and me, like we of course love the productivity of like doing multiple things at once. But sometimes there's just some things where you have to go through each chamber door and just go a straight path and only accomplish one thing at a time to get through the more the more difficult mazes, if you will, you know. So that, and I get what you're saying, and that's basically how I've tried to utilize it. So that's why I always like I have tried to precurse like every now and then that, hey, I'm still experiencing this, so that way if I'm like too silent or if I'm not like as on point as I have been, it's because of this. I'm not trying to look for sympathy at all. Like I'm just letting you know, like, sorry if I haven't been there, basically, if I'm not the person I have been, you know. So
of course, dude.
But
and yeah, that can be so, it's just so rough because we try to compartmentalize, and like it's the depression or like social situations, like it's all just like a big escape room. It's like we have to solve various puzzles, and if we spend time just dabbling in the various puzzles rather than trying to address them as they're necessary for us to get through the escape room, we're never going to get through it. You know, I'm just gonna like, I can't put 2 pieces of this together and 3 pieces of that and then 2 pieces of this, and it's just too much to juggle. So it's like
absolutely. Yeah, solving 10% of every puzzle isn't going to get you out, but solving 100% of 2 puzzles might get you a little further. So like
exactly, and like and sometimes that's all you need to feel like you have your head above the water, is just to feel like you can like, because what else can we do but the thing that we're capable of doing in any given moment? Like, I know as much as I want to say that I can take steps toward helping create a situation where we solve some of our larger social issues. Those aren't things that I as an individual can do within a 10-minute to like span. I can't do anything today right now in this moment that will completely solve that issue. It's just too vast. Like there are things I can do to take steps toward helping, yes, but in my day-to-day life, there are things I can do to solve various problems and put out fires for my life, my social sphere, and the people I'm immediately close to and care about. And I think that if we're all doing that, and we're doing our best to put out our, spheres, like, fires wherever they are around us, it'll be a little bit easier to get through the escape room and, like,
there'll be
problems.
less smoke in the air, basically. Exactly. We can all,
Yes, and of course the problem is, not everyone is
get it, dude. I agree.
To their fires and such, but dude, so you mentioned the Office bat vampire thing, and it made me realize, Steven. Okay, Steven, I have a question for you, Steven. I'm gonna do standard. Okay, I'm gonna put you to a test, Steven. This is a standard Monster Squad monster test, Steven. It's a new segment. It's a popular segment. All the kids are talking about it, Steven. It's called the Monster Test. It's the monster test. The monster test. And this is monster test number 1, werewolf edition. Steven, I have questions for you. I have so many questions. Ooh. So many questions.
My perspective on werewolves and their mythos, basically.
Absolutely. Now I will give a very brief blanket statement of, we have to understand as people that whoever's doing the writing is the person in charge. Like, that's the case. Like, we're talking about, like, mythological, fictional characters. So we're talking about myths, legends, fictional characters. Therefore, whoever has the pen in the hand, it has the mightiest sword of all in the situation. So there, we're gonna talk with like a grain of salt. I understand. So there's always gonna be. But that being said, Steven, whatever you say tonight defines werewolves for everyone. Is what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I
got a lot of stuff to add to
Steven,
the mythos.
So we're here. This is our monster test, but we're going to define what a werewolf actually is for a second. Okay, Steven, just very briefly, I want to know everything you believe about werewolves right now. Like, what is a werewolf?
A werewolf is a man that has been infected with the lycanthropy, or is it lycanthropy? Like basically the germ that causes them, when the moon is completely full, to transform into a half man, half wolf beast. Okay. For me, when it comes to werewolves, I feel like they're very tricky to capture properly.
Question number 1, Steven, you already hit me with saying werewolf was a man. Now, question number 1, Steven, how many nipples does a female werewolf have? That's your question. Ooh. That's what I'm posing to you.
So I'm assuming a female werewolf in her human form would have 2, but I mean, how does that work? Hold on. So wait,
I'm gonna need some confidence from you. I'm gonna need you to lay down the law, Stephen. Law.
Okay, so I feel like it's gonna go one of 2 ways. I feel like either the human form gains 3 extra sets of nipples. Okay. Going all the way down.
That's already my favorite version of the werewolf. But it would be so okay. How terrible would it be? Because any werewolf hunter would just constantly be in this awkward position to be like, I gotta see those. I gotta see you. Can I just I don't want to. How do I broach this subject?
Yeah, because I mean, the guys would have that many nipples too. So I mean, everyone would have that many nipples, right?
I don't know. Oh,
how many? I gotta check Sam's nipples.
How many? How many nipples do male dogs have? Do they have the same amount of nipples?
Dude, I think they have 60. I'm stuck between 6 and 8. We get 8 to 10.
Yeah,
both male and female dogs have nipples. 8 to 10. Okay, so since in every werewolf movie I've seen, I've never seen 8 to 10 sets of nipples on their human form.
Right.
They seem when werewolves transform, even like female werewolves in movies, they don't have they all kind of transform into a beast with a broad muscular chest for some reason. There's never any.
Well, Steven, let me tell you one exception. I watched the reason I thought of this ridiculous question is because a movie that I've seen in my life but didn't remember very much of, I revisited last night. Steven, I watched An American Werewolf in Paris, the sequel to An American Werewolf in London. Have you ever seen that one?
Which I actually I actually low key kind of liked that one.
Okay.
I really did. And
So okay. So
low key. It was cheesy too.
It's not a good movie. But what it does have is so many cool ideas that are poorly executed. Like so many fun ideas. There are a couple of like fun werewolf transformations in it. Like a couple cool things. The CG is real bad and it doesn't like hold up at all. It was a really bad choice. But not what we're talking about, Steven. We're doing the monster test. But I have to tell you, in that movie, when the woman takes off her shirt and she's transforming, she grows extra sets of nipples all the way down.
Really? So they answered this question.
Yeah. Well, in that, according to American Werewolf in Paris, at least female werewolves. Now here's the thing, though. I didn't notice extra sets of nipples on the male wolves, even though we've just learned that male dogs and wolves have several nipples as well. They've had, So what is with this lycanthropy where they're like, okay, well, those female wolves are definitely going to have to nurse some female pups, many of them, because think of what that suggests. Okay. So now, are you saying that like they have the ability to lactate all the way down? Like they have like actual like mammary tissue, So
I mean, like obviously the genetic composition we've always wondered with werewolves. I mean, everything changes.
The thing we've always wondered about werewolves is how many boobs they have. That's the thing we're discussing. Like, how many bras does every werewolf need? Like what? Like, or not need, but you know what I mean. But dude, so anyway. So what is our stance for werewolf nipples, Steven? Do you think the man and women should?
I feel same amount of nipples. If you're gonna give the werewolf 8 to 10 nipples, you're giving them to both. Okay, gotcha. You're not gonna just you're basically sexualizing it if you don't. Yeah. If you give 1, 2, and the other 10, that means you're literally hyper focusing on.
It's a weird choice. It was a weird choice.
It's a weird choice. I feel like just like how like when a woman bodybuilder is really like rigid and strong, like her chest muscles are like really broad. I feel like the safest form of werewolf is just a really broad, powerful monster with like a broad, strong chest, tons of hair. Then you don't have to answer those like tricky questions. Like from a design standpoint, it's much easier to present the werewolf just as a hulking beast, instead of 10, 8 to 10 nipples.
Okay, Steven. Okay, Steven, question the second. Werewolves.
Does the milk taste different between both forms?
Man, can you imagine the brave soul?
Would it taste like but would it taste like dog milk versus human milk? I mean, would there be like a flavor profile change?
I have never tasted dog milk. I know that there was like the Meet the Fockers where they were talking about like milking a cat. I imagine there'd be a flavor difference because there's a difference between like cows and goats, right? And there's a difference between like goats and coconut.
I'm just imagining like a bunch of like savants like swirling werewolf milk,
sniffing. You gargle a little, spit it out. Like, ugh.
I only drink the finest werewolf's milks. Like is what I do. But next question.
Next question, Steven. Next question, Steven. What are a werewolf's weaknesses / how do you defeat a werewolf?
To my knowledge, the only surefire method of killing a werewolf is with a silver bullet. However, I've always kind of perceived them as not supernatural. They're earthly. They're bound to the rules of physics, So I think a silver bullet would put them out of commission. But I still think that if you ran like a huge like sword through the chest of a werewolf, it would kill them. Like if it went through a heart or something of that degree. Like that's what I think. I think if the wound was big enough, it would take them down at least.
Okay.
Maybe they would heal from it. Maybe.
Okay. So every movie I've seen, it had to be silver. So that's what and I was thinking about this a lot because I've seen movies where the werewolf actually just explodes and it's pieces
from the silver.
From a grenade. From a grenade.
Oh, okay.
Like standard grenade or TNT, I believe. But TNT would light the fuse. Put it in the pants of the werewolf, kick the werewolf out a window, boom, werewolf explodes. This happened in Monster Squad. And its pieces fly back together supernaturally in that movie.
Oh, that's pretty epic.
Yeah, so it kind of like reforms itself, and then it just
because it wasn't silver.
Because it wasn't silver. Same for like, I mean, there are other movies where it's like you chop off the werewolf's arm and it's like it grows back, or just like they're basically like the Hulk.
I'd imagine like topical wounds like that, but like for example, like not topical. I mean, like, but like I imagine like they could regenerate limbs or like recover from a stab wound. Like you'd have to like take their breath from them. But I think like personally, and that sounds epic in Monster Squad. But personally, like for me, like if you took a broadsword and just decapitated a werewolf, that should be it. Like cutting the head off of most things kills them, like regardless of what they are.
Okay. This is a werewolf test, but I'm going to ask you because I'm a little suspicious of this rule. Would you say the same thing of vampires?
So with vampires, I feel like, and maybe Buffy has kind of tainted my vision of vampires, but like I do view vampires as like demonic entities. So like they have some sort of magic or like something more beyond what they are. For some reason, I'm viewing werewolves from a more primal state you think
of it as more like an organic, just like another beast, like another creature.
Yeah, like a druid. Imagine like a druid or like a shapeshifter of some sort.
Right.
Like they obviously are using some form of magic to transform, but I feel like it's nature magic, and like that would like have to be like still destroyable by the laws and the things of this world. Okay. Whereas vampires can be demonic and can come from a different dimension or different reality or hell or whatever they come from. Their spirits. They're what they are, you know.
That's interesting. But wasn't there? But like imagine like the Lon Chaney Wolfman, where it was like there was a 5-pointed star on his hand. It was like a pentagram. There was like otherworldly like energies involved in creating the beast that would come from him. So there could be, that's what the beast is a form of demon taking your flesh.
That could be it too. It's funny how like. It's just funny how like our minds store like what these things are to us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what I'm asking. I think
it's so fun. Yeah, it's so different. Like, yeah, I've always viewed them as so different. Like werewolves and vampires. It's like werewolves are something of this earth, whereas vampires are not. And like it's just funny. But yeah,
see, it's funny because like I bet and like. I mean, much like in an M. Night Shyamalan situation, like I know there's someone else who's out there with the other side of that like Two-Face coin, saying that about vampires. Because if you think about it, they're just people with a different diet than us, and they're they have they have like basically what porphyria. They're allergic to the sun. They're allergic to silver. They're allergic to garlic. And the thing they feed on is blood, and what it gives them is the nutrients, but in an extended, accelerated form. Whereas, like our food, we get nutrients from it. It helps us live. It like runs our Energizer battery for so long, and then we need more food until eventually there's like that denigration over time. Where it's but vampires. Perfect systems where like if they drink blood, it's just a perfect Energizer bunny until they need more blood, so it's like I can see someone who's like another Steven saying that about vampires, yeah,
and I can see that too. Like I even feel like kind of like in True Blood they kind of made vampires seem that way, that they're basically just like versions of humans that just have this genetic difference, basically mutants. They're basically like X-Men or whatever, but yeah, like that's how I view werewolves in that sense. So like, but I do agree, like even with silver, and I've seen this kind of done in movies, I feel like it would, wherever they shoot the silver can't heal. Right. But like you still have to shoot them in a pretty critical area, I would think. Like if you shoot them with the silver bullet, you can't just shoot them in the finger and that's gonna kill the whole werewolf. Right. Not like in Blade when he was killing vampires with they would just touch silver and they would explode. Like that's just it's unrealistic for a monster to suffer that way, Yeah. So like I feel like you'd still have to have like precise aim. Like you'd have to hit an organ or the chest or the head.
Yes. Yeah. Like I mean that's what I always imagine is like silver would do the trick specifically with werewolves, but it still has to be like a fatal blow. Like I do think, and I agree with you. Like I think if you took a silver sword and you chopped off a werewolf's arm with a silver blade, that werewolf shouldn't necessarily be able to restore that that wound, because I'd imagine whatever weakness it has to the silver would
I almost think like in the X-Men comics, they have this blade. I think it's Masamune or whatever they have, but it's made of I'm gonna mess this up. It's not carbonadium, is it? It's another metal that basically negates healing factor. So that's how I'm imagining it. Like if Wolverine killed Sabretooth sword and vice versa, that's how they use that to kill regenerating characters. Yeah. So that's basically how I would view silver towards a werewolf. If you have silver nails and you're slashing a werewolf up, like you're gonna all that damage is staying on them as if they're human, you know?
Wait, so
That's how I look at it.
So for the sake of my final question about werewolves, okay, let's just say that it needs to be silver and they can heal from basically any other wound. If it's not silver, if it's not a silver like weapon, they can, because like just because of Monster Squad and the various movies where like they basically get chopped in half, they'll grow, if you chopped a werewolf vertically in half with a normal sword, if you separate the two halves, what would happen? If the two halves can't refuse, do you grow two wolves? Does one half die? If it's a perfect split,
So I think I'm gonna go to Deadpool for this question, because this happened to him basically. So basically, his body would favor whatever, like if he lost an arm or if he lost this or whatever, it would favor and grow back on that body, whatever the biggest piece was.
Right.
But someone was going around and collecting all of his pieces that were left behind, and they attached him to a head that was separated at one point, and they created evil Deadpool. And I would feel so bad for the artist that drew this guy, because one of his arms, like he had two left arms basically. Yeah. So like he would have to draw, like the hands were drawn a certain way and everything. But yeah, like, so basically like because of the hyper regeneration factor. So if we're going to go with silver is the only thing that permanently kills them. Someone slices them in half with like a typical sword, like an iron sword, two halves. I think it's going to favor the larger of the two, but if it's perfectly symmetrical, I think we can create two werewolves with this.
Okay, so I'm wondering,
down to the atom. I mean, if you slice them perfectly,
Now, okay, we're gonna have to. I don't know. Would it favor I'll say, if you're going to be like a lame person,
because the heart,
I'd say where the heart is. I'd say it probably will favor wherever the heart is. But let's just imagine you slice it perfectly, whatever. Like its stomach's over here, its heart's over here. We because for various reasons, I give preference and preferential like thought and treatment to certain organs and such, but like we don't know if werewolves have freaking 12 nipples or whatever, like what's going on internally, we don't know. So let's just imagine you slice them, right? If they grows into two separate wolves, when the moon is gone, is it two men, identical twins, same memories and all? Is there any difference? Because
dude, you just wrote a cool werewolf story. What if they cut in half, regenerate, and then one guy shifts back, and the wolf and the man are finally separated?
Yes,
spiritually separated.
I see. So when the moon comes out, one of them turns human again and sees the wolf. That would be cool, actually. That would be cool. I was thinking that would be a lot of fun too. I was thinking just in that second, if we split, what if it became a right brain, left brain situation where like one was like really analytical and one was really creative. And they were like, what do we do about that? Blah, blah, blah. And it kind of becomes like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and Bruce Banner and the Hulk. And it kind of becomes like the main the hero and the id, but like one of them, like what the left brain person would, basically want to become like this analytical, how do we treat this werewolf situation? What do we do with this? How do we make it like a very type A werewolf type person, and I wonder about that. But,
and then the creative one would be like, how can we use this to benefit us, benefit society, benefit whatever, or.
Yeah. But like, it would be weird, especially if they already had relationships and such, because like, how would that affect them? Like, which one goes back to the wife? Which one goes back to the husband? Which one goes back to whatever? Like, which one goes back to work versus which one goes back to.
So basically, what you're telling me is like multiplicity, but even cooler somehow. Like we get Michael Keaton, and he's just a bunch of half werewolf, half humans.
I love this.
That'd be awesome.
It's crazy. But anyway, dude, so that was our monster test werewolf segment. I feel like we cracked the case on werewolf nipples, and we created like an equal situation that American Werewolf in Paris just dropped the ball on. I don't know what they were thinking.
Can we strip something from the record completely involving werewolves?
Oh, yeah,
sorry. I think imprinting on children that you're eventually going to fall in love with in the future should just be stripped from a werewolf.
I feel like as soon as you say that, people should just go, "Oh, he's not a werewolf. He's a pedophile." like that's a different type of monster. That's a different, like, you're writing a different type of horror movie now. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, in retrospect, I just can't believe that was put into a book. But anyways, I feel like that needs to be stripped from the record permanently.
Yeah, like I whatever. You want to have a different creature that does that? I also don't love werewolves when they just look like big dogs that
Yeah.
communicate telepathically. Like, I hate. Okay, I'm not someone who will normally crap on Twilight as a whole. Like, I feel like it's fine. Like, let people like what they like. I also appreciate any book that allows people to like enter the threshold of like a particular genre or subgenre or whatever. Like, if that got you into vampires and that's what you love, then good for you. I'm like personally not a big fan of like big talking like dog like telepathic dogs. It's weird. It's like it's just not for me. It's not like the whole. I mean, it reminds
me
like
my werewolves to look like when they're just bipedal dogs. I don't like that either. Like I like there to be some like monster like in between man and wolf. It's not perfect. It's an amalgamation of man and wolf. It's not,
Yeah, dude, I agree. Anyway. I agree. No, I totally agree. And like I agree, and I prefer that as well. And like whatever. It's fun to have like the various sources, but like there was just something so wrong about having these weird telepathic dogs. It reminded me of that scene in Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, where like the Green Goblin's up on the roof and he's talking to Spider-Man and doing this, and I'm like, it just something's wrong about the scene because their mouths aren't moving and like the way they're communicating looks like it's just a little kid in the bathtub with like two toys just doing it's like stop this. But yeah, so I've been distracting myself with werewolf thoughts, Steven. That's what I've been doing, just sitting around distracting myself. But I'll tell you, it's good that I have these stupid like thoughts that come to me, dude. Like I love that I sit there and like these like random shower thoughts come to me when I'm just like going through my day, because otherwise, like, what am I gonna like? I don't want to be lost alone with my thoughts, especially when I have to do something that's like, Steven, you ever have to do something that takes no brain power, it's just all physical, and you have to sit there and just kind of like be alone with the thought of doing this thing, like whatever it is, like whatever, like you try to put yourself in, you're kind of in autopilot doing the motion, but now you're like, all right, well, I'm trapped in my thoughts, so I can, if you're in a situation where you can listen to music, audiobooks, podcasts, whatever it is, that's great. If you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I have to be trapped with me for a while, great. Not a perfect scenario all the time. Like sometimes, like whatever. Like I'm just like anyone else. Like I have like my methods of getting through that or enjoying it or finding what I can. Like the werewolf nonsense and different things, and like Twitter and like thinking of things to post and stuff. But dude, recently I had to clean a mess, Steven. I had to clean a Herculean mess, like a mess of biblical proportions, Steven. A mess like that was like a plague of locusts, like literal punishment from God mess, Steven. I had to clean it. It was just on me. So I want to ask you, like, okay, what's the biggest mess? What's the biggest mess you've ever made, and what's the biggest mess you've ever cleaned up?
I think one of the bigger messes, because I can't, and nothing else is really coming to mind, but I know I've made some messes, was not my fault, but I was part of the resolution. The fire that Tina and Sarah started in my mom's kitchen.
Yes. Wait, first of all, do you still have the video of that?
I think there is somewhere. Like, I think Lee has it, so I'll message Lee. But yeah, basically, Sarah and Tina, we were all young, but they put oil in a pan, not like a cast iron, nothing sturdy, just like a typical like plastic handled metal pan, and they filled it up so they could deep fry some French toast sticks, which does sound delightful. I'm not gonna lie. However, they turned the heat on and went and started watching YouTube, and the oil just like burned down basically because they had it on the highest heat to get the oil going, and the oil caught fire, and it was just chaos. I mean, like the fire was going up the cabinets, everything was burning. Sarah's just screaming like a banshee doing nothing. I'm like, Sarah, get me a towel. And she brings back this tiny little washcloth because I couldn't smother the flame with that. Like the flame grew like 3 times by the time she brought me the washcloth. So it was stupid, but we were in a fully ceramic tile house. And I saw the fire going into the cabinets and it was going to go to the ceiling. Yep. So I literally just grabbed the pot and just dropped it on the ground, which seems crazy, but there was tile everywhere. So if it napalmed at all, I knew it was going to be easier to put it out. Right. And it stopped it. The fire immediately went. It looked like I went Super Saiyan. Like in the video, like the pan hits the ground. There's just a burst of flame. Like it literally looks like I went Super Saiyan. And then my mom's at work this whole time. So now we got black. These cabinets were white and they're all black the microwave handle melted, like the frame of the microwave was popping and clicking because it was from the heat. So we got together, went and grabbed the white paint. We completely restored the kitchen. It looked perfect. Like the whole thing wasn't just on fire somehow. And we got it done for Mom. I still told my mom, and actually I was like such a little arrogant little punk. I was like, Mom, I did such a good job at like fixing this fire in this kitchen that you should totally bring me some hash Benedict home from your work. And she did though. But yeah. That was a pretty big mess. It was pretty chaotic too.
No, that was for sure.
Firefighter.
Yeah, I'm glad you have this story. Okay, wait. What's the biggest mess you've ever made? Do you have any, or I'm just wanting to make sure?
So one time I like was stretching, and this might just be a big guy thing, but I was stretching on my mom like on the guest bathroom toilet, and I must have like pushed back on the bolts, and I broke the back water tank of the toilet from doing that. Because I was just leaning back, and I'm like, Mom, Dad, the toilet is broken. And my dad goes there, what the hell did you do?
How did you do that?
Actually, my dad goes, the first thing he said to me goes, what, were you jerking it? I'm like, no, it wasn't stretching. Yeah, of course my dad asked that.
Like, only a little, but also, like, how do you do that? Like, how powerfully are you, like what?
Are you, like, thrusting into yourself?
Like full ski motions. Like, what? What did he imagine you were doing?
I know. How do you do it, Dad? Is there some sort of ancient technique that you were supposed to pass down?
Like
the grandpa passed down to
like,
you?
Exploding like balls technique. Just
like I just like looking at my dad. He goes. Everything explodes behind him, but he has like, the best time. And in front of him. Oh man! Sorry. But yeah, that was pretty big though, because I mean, like the top part, the water tank of the toilet broke because the bolts. There's 2 bolts that hold it in, or at least this one there was, and it just busted. The whole porcelain broke, and like the water's still going, so it's trying to fill a room now. And
it's so freaking funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's so freaking.
Shut
funny.
the water off and.
Okay, so. As far as made, like I've like drunkenly spilled things before. Like actually, like I had like Zoom chat like mini podcast with my friend Diana, and she witnessed me turn and knock over my beer and just spill my beer just literally all over, like just on books and everything. I was just like, well, I'm not gonna clean it right now, you know. Like I'm just gonna keep talking. Not the biggest mess I made, but I've done little things like that from here, like now and then, like whatever. I've been alive long enough to make little messes. I will say, I am not someone who's I'm not usually clumsy. I don't usually make messes. I don't usually make like spill stuff or drop things. But Steven, Thanksgiving last year.
Oh no.
Oh, Thanksgiving last year. Helping my parents. I'm helping my parents with groceries. I'm carrying groceries in. And, you know, naturally when you help, you know, like older people with groceries, you grab a bunch of groceries. You know, you grab like the lion's share of groceries. You do what you can. So I have bags up like down my arm, right? Like just all the bags that normally I would go all in my hand, right? But they had like a case of beer and then a case of this like wine cooler, like kind of like fruity watermelon.
Oh no.
Right? So I had bags down my arm. I had a watermelon. And then and then in my other arm, so that was this arm. And then in this arm, I had a case of beer and a wine cooler thing. So I'm walking through and I go to open they have like this big sliding wooden door and I open it up. And as I open it up, I just take a step forward. As I take a step forward, I didn't realize because I'm carrying all this stuff and I have beer in my face, their dog was laying right there. Right? Like right in front of the door. So the dog...
Is he a Rott?
Yes. So he's like a big Rottweiler. So this giant Rottweiler peeks his adorable, giant, goofy head up. And as he does that, hits the watermelon, which hits my other arm, which hits the case of beer, which hits the water.
Oh no!
And it just goes and just like defies gravity, just like wings spread,
cartoon,
air, like Buzz Lightyear falling with style, like just watch it. And I'm just like, there's nothing I can do. We're all.
It's gonna explode.
I was like, this is bad. Yeah. This is about to be the worst. So, like, the dog takes off as the slow motion, like, just volcano, just erupts.
If I could trap time in a bottle.
Dude, so it goes, just, it erupts. Just this it was a firefight. Just bottles erupting everywhere. Red mist fills the air, just sticky red goo.
And watermelon juice is so sticky, dude. It's so it's so sticky,
dude. So everything about it was so. Our white tile is just flood. It was like that opening scene in Blade. It was like the rave. I was like, there were some vampires fun this night, you know, just it was like I we needed Moses to part this Red Sea. It was that terrible. So, dude, and I looked, I was just and I was so thankful because, my mom wasn't home, Atlas wasn't around yet, and, I mean, he was here, but he was with his mom, so I was just it was just my dad and I looked at him, and it was the coolest my dad's ever been. He's like, all right, let's clean it up. I'm like, yep. And, we both just, laughed about it and cleaned it up, and it sucked, but it was, the biggest mess I've ever made. And the least amount of drama for making such a ridiculous mess. If I did that at any other point in my entire life, it would have been a huge event. It would have been it would have
the
been
time Anthony did this.
Yes, 100%. It was just it was a series of perfect situations that it created. It was just my dad and I who were, and the two of us are just well, we don't want to make it worse, you know? It was might as well clean it up. So we cleaned it up, and we're dude, it was but it was crazy, how big, how far, the glass, just the oh my god, the radius that glass.
Yeah, because I mean, dude, tile. Actually, recently this happened. I was changing the I was so bad. I was changing the light bulb out on the patio because it went out, and it had one of those glass things, but it had. I couldn't get to the bulb because it had a metal frame that went over the glass part. So I had to unscrew the metal frame, right? So I just assumed that the glass was attached to the metal because why the hell would it not be? Why would there be a metal frame, separate piece, a glass glow bulb, separate piece light bulb? Why would that be the thing? So as soon as I get the other bolt, I have my hand ready to catch the metal, which I thought was one piece. The metal drops, the glass part of it falls. And just hits the glass table. And now it didn't break the glass. Oh, dude, the metal and the glass were two separate pieces for some reason. And it hit a solid glass outside table and didn't break the table, thank God.
But broke itself.
But that dome was powder glass. There was crystals on that. Because the table has a ridge, right? So I'm trying to wipe the crystals up into a pile and get them up, and they just get stuck in the jambs of the table. So there's this fine razor glass everywhere on this pad. It was a nightmare. I got it cleaned up, but it took a few days to find every.
You're always finding something. There's always something.
There's
always something.
Yeah, there's always
but
always. Yeah.
I had to tell you, Steven, I had to clean up a mess. I had to clean a mess, Steven. I was at work, and the manager calls me over, and I work, standard crap retail job. Hours are convenient enough where it works around my son's, school schedule, everything, so I gotta get there. It's very easy, there are benefits, none of them financial, but there are benefits. But so my manager calls me over, and she's like, look at this. And she opens the bathroom door, and it is...
Oh, no.
Night of the Living Dead in there. It is a perfectly set scene from a Nightmare on Elm Street. It is standard. This is a nightmare that we can film a movie in here. It is camera ready. It is. I have
someone sacrificed something in here.
Steven, I have seen and what I'm talking about here, and I know some of you know, and or some of you have heard legend of this. But what I'm talking here is not just a little bit of spray on the toilet seat, not just a little bit on the floor, not like an excessive amount of toilet paper that clogged up the water. I'm talking about all of the above, and then a tsunami up the wall of visceral, textured human stuff all the way, just a solid 2 feet behind the wall, and Steven, and you know how behind so there's a toilet, So there's a toilet, and there's like the standard like stem, like a metal stem, where then you'd have a button of some sort, or like a mechanism for flushing. The entire stem is caked, Steven, just caked heavily with human excrement. Like, Steven, it was a freaking nightmare. So I had to do the math. I had to quickly do the math where I was like, okay, first of all, no one in this building gets paid well, like enough to be near this. But what I realized very quickly, and I will say this because like whatever, we're in the podcast, like I'm not proud of any of this. I don't want to do this. I wish I had a better job where I didn't have to do this. But what I will say is
that's like literally the scene in that's literally like the scene in the movie where the guy's like fuck this, and just like, you know what I'm saying, like, yeah, because that's just crazy. Right,
I'll tell you what I knew for a fact, and I know this for a fact because I've been through similar situations. Not that bad. This is the worst I've ever seen in my life. But I've been through situations where the manager will, any manager, not necessarily this one. I do like my manager that I work with. You know, I'm just saying, but like when you work retail or any situation like this, they will find someone to do it, but like, and they will never call. So either one of my other coworkers would have to clean it up, or the manager herself would have to clean it up, and they would never get an outside source to come and do this. And unless it was like blood, you know, like they won't. They'd refuse and they'd fight and they'd, you know, and then and then unfortunately, someone I like would have to do it. So I was like, I will make a deal. I was like, I will do this if I can just go home. I was like, I don't want to do this and then sit around smelling and like feeling like gross, you know? So I did it. So I cleaned it, Steven. I got in there. I had like extra, you know, we have like the standard like time release scent thing that we have. And I just grabbed one of those from the back and just went in there and sprayed it. I waited a minute, and sprayed it. I did a whole thing. I had a whole procedure, wore a mask. It worked out. It was terrible. It looked terrible. But I got through it. I wore gloves and all this stuff. Guys, but dude, I don't understand it. I don't understand how it happens. And like, I try to like, anytime anything happens, like anytime I'm personally faced with a situation in which I'm like feeling kind of like fire for something, you know, where I'm like, look, I hate these people, I hate it, and I start feeling that, I try to think like, what's a situation where it would be kind of understandable, not necessarily justified, because not everything always feels justified, but like sometimes it's like, hey, you know, there's some old lady, and like if there's a little bit of poop on the floor, I'm like, you know what, she couldn't hold it and she tried her best and maybe it fell out of her diaper and she's having a worse day than I'm having, you know. And like I try to think of that stuff. I can't imagine, Steven. I can't, like, I sincerely can't imagine the situation, how that would even happen. Like, how do you defy gravity? I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I can't,
the only scenario that I've concocted in my head, that I don't think I can explain all of it, but I think I can explain some of it.
I know what you're going.
Only theory
I know where you're going.
I think this is how it starts. I think whoever runs into that bathroom is having a bad stomach day.
Oh, of course.
They run in there and they clog the toilet because they have diarrhea. They wipe too much, it burns, and they clog the toilet because they have diarrhea. They get up and they go to flush it, and it doesn't flush.
Okay.
And then they smell and see what they did. Okay. Right. So they go to vomit, but they have a loose situation on the back end right now. So the exertion of the throw up causes them.
All right, Steven. All right, Steven. We're gonna lose listeners here. We're gonna lose our viewers. Okay, I'll tell you my theory. My theory, from what I've been
some jerk off.
No, dude. So my theory is like I've been told that I know people who have done this. But there are certain cultures that stand on the toilet for like body positioning purposes, for health reasons, you know, apparently or supposedly.
It helps with the.
Yeah, so like, so it helps with like forming your body and getting it out more comfortably and like not straining yourself and such. I understand, like maybe that's the case. Maybe it's the case where like they put their feet up on the toilet and they're, you know, like this, but like. I don't know, dude. The rest of it is left to fiction. Like I would sooner.
I'm just imagining a guy standing up there, and then his foot slips, and he like spins on his back like a turtle, like lands on the ground, and just like a human sprinkler. Just he was in the half shell.
That was a crazy day. My week's been weird, dude. I've had a weird week. You know, Steven, speaking of like biggest messes and kind of cleaning them up. My love life's been a weird mess, Steven, for a while, for a long time. It was kind of touch and go. I didn't know what I was doing. I kind of like gave up for a while, and then I found myself in this weird situation where I met someone and accidentally really liked her. And Steven, this week I kind of clean. I feel I like really felt like the residual mess leaving, and I was like, here we are in this situation. It's all really good. And Steven, it's a weird thing to piggyback off of that last conversation, but Steven,
turtle scoopage and human sprinklers. We're gonna go into this.
My human sprinkler, my Care Bear countdown situation of sprinkling outward was Steven. I told someone I love them for the first time. It's a big deal,
awesome.
Steven. It's a big deal, and it's crazy, and I meant it, and she said it back. And then the second time I said it to her, she said, "I know," and I was like, "You love Star Wars so much. This is crazy," you know. But yeah, dude, it's amazing. It's so interesting to say I love you. I mean, it was really intimidating, dude. Like I kind of like,
you never know, right?
I know. Well, it's
they
like,
could say cool.
I felt, yeah. I mean, that's what. So, do you remember the first time Tina actually said "I love you" to you? So, for those of you who don't know, the first time Steven said "I love you" to Tina, she said "cool" and then drove away.
Yeah, drove home. I think the next day she just came over and said it. Basically, she's like, "No, I totally feel it too. I was just really nervous. And it was really blah blah blah." But actually, that story is somewhat tethered to Mike, because I told Mike, I was like, I told her I love her, and she said "cool," and he's like, "Sucks, bro." Something very Mike, like, you know, sometimes just is that way. Like, you just very, you know, like, oh yeah, that's the way life is, Stephen.
Yeah.
Like, damn it, Mike.
Oh man, but it's crazy, dude. Like, love is so weird. So I didn't know. I it's funny because like I felt it for a while, and I actually like broached the subject with her previously, where I kind of said to her, I was like, I don't really want to say, you know, love right away. Like I kind of, you know, I did the thing where I was like, I don't really want to say the L word, you know, too soon. I told her why, and I told her I was like, I wanted it to mean something. I wanted it to actually like, I kind of wanted to spend time defining what that meant and like living in that space before using the word. You know what I mean? Like I wanted like you know, you want to get to a situation where it's like it's not just like mimetic. It's not just what we've heard from movies. It's like we spend time together. We find ourselves in this place where we're actually in love with each other. You know, it was weird. So I was just, I don't know. I just wanted to make sure that it was like mutual and like requited, and she wasn't going to just like say it and then hate me and then like, you know, like just kill me or something. I don't know, Steven. Life's weird. So I was like, anything can happen. I don't know, like so but I felt it for a while. So I felt it, like I've been feeling it for a while. I just haven't said it, and I've, you know, we've been going through this whole relationship, and it's been really great. And I actually got to the point where I told Atlas, I was like, I love Amy, you know, and Atlas was just like, I don't know, like he was really cute about it, and he really, you know, he really loves her, and he was really cute about it, but I was like, you can't tell her though, you know, so like I had to have the secret with my 7-year-old where I was just like, don't say anything. This is us. This is our secret. And he was so cool about it. He was like, I won't tell. This is us. You know, just one of those like excuse me. You tell her when you're ready, big dog. And I was like, don't call me big dog unless you mean it. You know? So
no, I already got t-shirts made. You're big dog, I'm a little dog. It's good. It's good.
So my little pup, keep it secrets. So dude, I was just like, so I talked to you. So like the other day, I mean, not too long ago, I texted you, and I was just like, I think I'm gonna tell Amy that I love her, you know, and like, you know, you were of course like supportive, and you know, you seem to like Amy, and it was just like we've all gotten along, and it's been really great. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it, and I didn't know what to, you know, I was like, and I thought about like, do I like, I want it has to be like the words, right? Like I have to like say the word. I can't like just I'm not gonna text her. I'm not gonna do it like we do. Like, so we like snap each other, like Snapchat every day. We kind of like, you know, like good morning. We kind of talk throughout the day whenever we can, like little bits, you know. I love that, by the way. It's been like really cool to like just kind of like keep in touch, you know, and like it feels like there's no pressure. Like it's different from a telephone because I can see her. It's the whole thing. So I was like, I can't do that, even though we've been doing it every day. It might be cute, but I was like, I don't want that because it'll, you know, I want it to be like in person. But I was like, I was putting all the stress on my, like pressure on myself, where I was like, what do I do? Do I do it right when I see her? Do I do it? You know, like what?
I love you.
You know,
You're late. We can go to lunch.
Yeah. So I don't know. So anyway, and eventually, like, so I got, you know, so I got to her house and like we hung out, we did all this, and like eventually we were standing in our kitchen, and I just looked at her, and I was just like, It was like a very Chasing Amy moment where I was like, I can't let another day go by without just saying this stupid thing that's on my mind. You know? I was just like, I need to just say, and it just like came out. I was like, I have to say this. And she just like kind of lit up, like this beautiful person that she is. And she's just like, you know, told me she loved me too. And
she's
I was
like, so sweet.
Oh, she really is.
Such a kind person.
Incredible.
She's wonderful.
Dude, so I tell her that. And the reason, I mean, I'm bringing this up for multiple reasons. But Steven, come to find out, Steven, my little dog, my adorable little pup, Steven, my adorable
he gets walked by other.
Oh, he's a betrayer, Steven. Two-Face. The little Judas. So
I was gonna say, did he give you the Judas kiss on the face?
Like,
when you kept your promise.
He's like, oh, dude. Okay, so come to find out, my girlfriend told my son months ago that she loved me. And he's kept it. He kept it in his little heart. He's just like, that's between us. I won't tell him. I was like, what is this?
Your big cat and little cat. I got the shirts made.
So my son's little dog, little cat. My son's little cat dog over here, just being a little
cat. One fine day with a wolf and a purr.
Dude, okay, so I found out that, so
he was keeping her secret for her.
So for months, my son was just between us, just like, I can see it happening, and they don't have a clue. He's like Timon.
He's Timon and Pumbaa.
And he was just so.
I got a shirt that says "Little Cat, Little Dog, Little Warthog, and Little Meerkat." Okay, I got a lot of shirts. I have a whole collection of shirts, and they're all animals, and they all say "little" before them. Eventually, it'll just say the animal, and then after that, it'll say big, and then the animal.
He's like, yeah, a lot of animals here. You know what's not in the sleeve? Hearts, because you two kept stuff from each other forever. Stuff in your sleeve. Shut up. Get over yourselves. Love each other. It was so funny, dude. It was so funny that he kept that from us. So I got in the car. With him. Okay. So I got in the car with him, and I was just like, so she tells me this. I get in the car with my son the next day, and I was just like, so, little dog, how do you feel about cats? And he's just like, wait, what? But like, I busted that story open. I was just like, are you keeping secrets from me? I was like, I thought we were a pack, you know? And like, but so I shook him. No, it was so cute though. I was just like, I did have to have like a little conversation with him where I was like, it's okay to do. It was weird because I was like, I was so happy and proud of him, but I was also like, oh no, is he keeping other secrets from me with people? Does he have other
adults? Yeah.
I was
like, how many animals is he?
How many animals is he? He's just like,
Dad, I got something to show you.
Of shirts.
Yeah. Little skunk. Why do you have little skunk? Dad, remember the bathroom incident at Michael's? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no.
Not me, but big skunk.
Yeah, dude, but that was funny. That was amazing. But it's been really great, and it's, you know, everything's been perfect so
she's
far.
amazing. I mean, her and Tina seem to click. I mean, she's just amazing. She's just fun to be around. She's just great. Like, I don't have a single sour thing to say about her. Like, not even close.
Yeah.
So very happy for both of you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's been like surprisingly and like almost terrifying, but not. Like, I'm to the point. I said that before in the podcast, but like, I'm to the point where I'm just like comfortable. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I know who she is enough to be comfortable, and that's so great. But yeah, dude, so perfect. Like, here I am in this weird kind of tumultuous time in my life, but like I've never had this kind of like success in my love life, you know? So like my home life and love life is just flourishing and beautiful and wonderful, and I've been so happy with that stuff, dude, and it's so great. And I like, so I have to make sure, and like, it's been nice because I've been able to kind of escape into that, you know, where like social media has been failing me lately, or where like I haven't been necessarily feeling as creative as I want to, you know. So like I've at least had the escape of like feeling really comfortable and like loved and welcome, and you know, like just there, you know, and like I found a place I want to be all the time, which is great. But yeah, dude. So I do have to kind of do what I can to recondition my time, you know, because like when you find when you find a place you want to be all the time, you have to choose to not be there. You know what I mean? Like I have to actively choose to work now. Like because I still love comics, I still love movies, I still love all the stuff I love, and I know that it's important to take that time for myself, but I have to choose it now. Whereas before it was like that was the thing I was choosing, you know? So like before I was choosing me. I was choosing like hedonistic, like, oh, what do I want to do? Haha. And say, you know, and like, but now the kind of hedonistic version of me is the like, I want to be with with these people and do the stuff with the family, and this is so much fun, and I'm happy here, and I like don't take me away, you know? It's, you know, so I have to.
So basically, we go back to the drawing board with the jobs. I mean, eventually, ideally, you and I are both going to have to get into positions where we either slowly take more time from the jobs that we currently work and just gain more days to work on stuff, or just jump.
This
like
is
just
what I'm
jump
thinking.
into the ocean.
You work 2 jobs. You work 2 jobs, Steven. You work 2 jobs. And that's it. I got no other steps in this plan. You work 2 jobs, and you pay for my bills. I will write, Steven. No, I'm kidding.
We just adopt an Anthony family. Just 2 quarters.
We're just here. Can you believe we did the wings of an angel, like the wings of an ostrich?
Oh yeah, those older episodes are pretty chaotic at times. Actually.
I mean, this one's getting there. So we have to wrap it up. All right, dude. So every week we talk about what we're gonna work on next. So speaking of, you know, finding a new balance and doing things and creating a system of productivity, what are you gonna do next?
So I got, like I said, I got the layout. I'll send you the layout, but I got that mostly laid out. So I'm gonna get 20. I'm gonna get 20 done, and then I'm gonna get 21 roughed at least, and then hopefully optimistic I can get both done. So that's my goal.
Awesome. So
what pages are you going to color this week?
I'll finish page 11 and 12 is what I'm going for.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Dude, yeah, I can't wait. So yeah, I'm going to color those 2 pages. We're going to get this crap done, Steven. This book's already looking beautiful, and people are going to love it. Like, every time we share anything from it, people seem to really be into it, and, like, rightfully so. So I think it's going to be great. I can't wait. But thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're only listening on one of the various podcasting maps, thank you. And thank you, JD, for reminding me every freaking week. You are the best. And I really sincerely...
Producer JD.
I really can't thank you enough, dude. I mean, I try to like be thankful. I know I've been going through stuff lately, so my thank yous have probably been a little bit more abrupt than they should be. But like I've been that way with everyone. I'm trying really hard to like to be a friend. You know, it's not always easy. You know, like we talked about in the episode, but it's just like, I'm sorry, everyone. If if I feel like a little distant lately, or if I seem a little distant, or if Steven, if we seem distant, like, I'm sorry. We're sorry. We're doing what we can. But thank you all. Thank you for being here with us through all of this. We really do appreciate you, and we love you. Steven, you're the greatest. I love you. I wouldn't want to do this.
I love you too, Anthony.
I will love you for my entire life. I can't wait to do this. We're gonna have a convention coming up soon, Steven. We have a convention coming up.
June 11th, and then we have a class.
Dude, we have to talk about that. That's gonna be cool too. Sure. Yeah.
Yep. So, we get our whole.
Yeah, we'll get it down.
Class down. We got it.
Yeah, we got it. There's nothing we can't do. We got this. But thank you all. We will definitely see you next week. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Stevie Wildcard.
And this has been episode 91 of We Have Issues. See you next time. All right, let me see. Steven, we have stuff to talk about. Let's get into this. I'm ready.
Oh yeah, I gotta get that. I must get that one thing loaded.
Oh, I actually threw my phone to my bed so it wouldn't distract me. I mean, it doesn't. It's not even an issue for me anymore, which is really cool. And I guess I should have mentioned and talk about that a little bit, but whatever.
I've been really bad at social media lately. I think it's so funny because you and I talk about how like I always feel like an alien when I'm dealing with grief or anything like that. I feel like I don't have anything that's on the surface that I can easily decipher that this is what this is. Yep. This is what I'm experiencing. I'm sad, but like, it's just things I have to notice. Like, oh, I'm not on Twitter like every day. I'm not doing, and it's not because of like some other reason. It's 100% because I just don't have the energy, basically.
And I've been doing the same thing.
So,
and I've been doing the thing where I basically just assume that's what it is now. You know what I mean? So like I'll just like call it out. I'll be like, oh, it must be like this is what it is. I'm still mourning. I'm still like going through this. I have like this weird like grief, that like odd depression going on where I don't have energy for particular things. Sometimes I'll make it like, dude, recently I made like, okay, so like historically, when someone comments something on my social media and I don't really know how to respond, I just won't respond, or I'm just like, or I'll block them, or like hide their response. And I'm just like, now I'm just at a point where I'm just like, I literally will just comment, I don't know how to respond to stuff like this, and then just move on with my life because I'm like, I don't have, because I don't have the energy. I'm like, I don't know what you want from me. I don't have the energy to sit here and like break down what was wrong with your comment and like how it didn't necessarily make sense. And it was like, I don't know, dude, but it's been weird, like I made a dumb joke today where I was like, I said, depression is self-sabotage, like sabotage, but sabotage.
Yeah.
And someone was like, oh, like they could just easily fix it themselves. I'm like, that wasn't what I said. I was literally,
no. It was just for the pun of sad. Like,
it's just for the pun of sad. Like depression is sad, sabotaging. Like it is something internally happening. It's yourself somewhere sabotaging yourself. That's what it is. It doesn't mean that you're actively in control of it or that you actively could,
or that you're minimalizing it either. Exactly. You're not doing any of that. It's just a tweet. It's just
So I was just like, and they said, and like to their credit, I said no, not like that at all. And they were like, oh, that's how I read it. I'm sorry if I misunderstood. I was like, okay, that's the best we could get from this.
So like, and I feel like people do struggle with that when it comes to like text to reading format. And my whole thing is I just read everything as if they're not being an asshole.
Yes.
And then let the evidence in the passage prove whether they're an asshole or not. Yes. They are innocent until proven guilty, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, it's you have to presume positive intention unless there's context or evidence of otherwise. You have to. Like if you go around just assuming that everyone means the worst possible thing like that sentence could possibly mean, or that they're that they're trying to instigate, or like you can't assume that unless there is some sort of like evidence of that from previous cases, like some consistency of character situation, like something going on, or if there's more in their comments, or you notice they're whatever, but there has to be something. There has to be some sort of context beyond a particular sentence that would cause that. Otherwise you're not justified in calling that out. You're literally problematizing. Like you're looking for an issue where it doesn't exist. And I'm like, because what tweets, like for me, it's like I recognize something in myself. I don't necessarily want to talk about it, but I make like some kind of like comment about it, and I try to like I joke about it, and that's when my brain's just like, oh, what could we do with this information? Like I have this random energy. Do I get sadder? Do I make it worse? Let's see how dark we can get. Or like, do I try to like twist it and make fun of myself a little so I can try to dig out of that quicksand, And that's normally the way I go. And like, sometimes it's not for everyone. I totally get that, but it's frustrating when you're trying to wade through a particular quicksand and people are accusing you of being in a different pool or whatever, it's like, I'm not peeing in your pool. I'm trying to survive, like, what are you doing? Stop it, Yeah, so anyway, that's just crazy. Steven, we're supposed to be doing a podcast. Let's get into it. You ready for this?
Yes.
Let's do this. All right, everyone. Yes.